What's up, Flick Connection? This is Darren. Today is June 10th, 2017, and on June 9th, yesterday, we lost Adam West. He's most famous for his role as Batman in the original 1968 series. So today, let's actually talk about how awesome Adam West was. The original Batman comics described Bruce Wayne at 6'2". Adam West is actually the only actor to play Batman that's exactly 6'2".
Ringside table, Batman?
Just looking, thanks. I'll stand at the bar. I shouldn't wish to attract attention.
At one point, Adam West actually had his dentist add a tiny black Batman symbol to one of his molars. A lot of people don't know this, but Adam West was actually considered for the role of James Bond. I know that may sound odd because West is an American actor, but there was a period in James Bond history where the studio had considered doing an American version, or at least a run of Bond films with an American James Bond. Obviously that never happened. The film he was up for was Diamonds Are Forever. Obviously, as history would show, they went a different route, but it's still an interesting fact about Adam West.
Your orange juice, sir. Batman special.
West actually got the role of Batman after ABC executives saw him in a Nesquik commercial. For those of you that don't know what that is, it may sound familiar because it's actually now called Nestle Quick. So it's a chocolate milk commercial, but he did play a secret agent in it, and that's what made them feel like he might be able to play the role of Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Some people will do anything to get rich quick. Toodaloo.
Adam West is usually considered to be the first or the original Batman, but he's actually the third. Before the 1968 series, which only ran for 2.5 seasons, there were two other seasons or series based on Batman, but they're so obscure that West actually gets credited with being the original. And it did have a short run. It was only 2.5 seasons because it did have fairly low ratings considering it had so much special effects and was pretty costly. He sort of played himself on Family Guy as Mayor Adam West, even though his character was really bizarre. They just like to give him the Adam West name, and Adam West actually voiced the character. He's actually said in interviews that he would never know what the episode was about. They would just have him come in to the sound booth. They'd have some really wacky lines for him that were completely out of context. He would say them in sort of his Adam West fashion, and then would move on, and he would only later find out what the context was.
I love this job more than I love taffy. And I'm a man who enjoys his taffy. Ooh.
In addition to Family Guy, he also voiced at least once for The Simpsons and for SpongeBob SquarePants. His IMDB filmography actually has about 200 acting credits. Many of those are short documentaries or episodes where he plays himself, guest appearances, and voiceovers. Before Batman, he actually played Doc Holliday. Yes, the same Doc Holliday that you know from the movie Tombstone. West played Doc Holliday 3 different times in 3 different series. He played Doc Holliday in Sugarfoot and Colt 45, both in 1957, and then again on a show called Lawman in 1958. One of West's voiceovers was actually a meta appearance on the Batman animated series. West was voicing for an actor in the Batman series who was struggling to kind of escape the past of a superhero character that he used to play. To me, this sounds an awful lot like the plot of Birdman, which was also sort of a meta experience for the Michael Keaton Batman. So sort of putting the two of those together, you sort of get like a full circle story of, you know, actors playing themselves and sort of this meta type format, and it's pretty interesting. If you've never seen the Batman animated series, and you're a Batman fan at all, I highly recommend it. It's really fairly dark, really well done. Obviously, it's made for kids, but it does deal with some dark subject matter. And again, it's really well done, good voice acting, fairly good animation for a TV show from the 90s. And I believe you can get all of those, they're at least available online, if they're not available for free on Amazon Prime at the moment.
Hand me down the shark repellent bat spray.
For a while before he was an actor, Adam West actually lived in Hawaii. There he worked as an island guide, a custodian, stage manager, and eventually worked his way up into acting. He actually got a job on a children's show as a sidekick, and ultimately became the host and star of that show, and then went on to Hollywood to pursue his acting career, where he had some of the roles we've discussed, and eventually landed the Batman role, which is really his signature role. One of the biggest roles that he actually didn't get was the role of Popeye Doyle in The French Connection. This role made Gene Hackman who he was. This was his breakout role, and definitely would have been a major turning point in Adam West's career, unless he just flopped and didn't do a good job in the role. Unfortunately, he didn't get that role. Unfortunately for him, I think moviegoers are pretty happy with what we got out of that movie. But nevertheless, it's interesting to know that he was up against Gene Hackman for such a gritty, iconic role. So Adam West is just a major pop culture figure, and he's stayed in the public light for his entire life, well into his 80s, attending Comic-Cons, making appearances, doing voiceovers for shows like Family Guy. So he had a really successful career, really long career, and he managed to stay relevant. I think part of that is that he really embraced what his Batman character became, which was ultimately kind of the campy, yet that beloved Batman, rather than sort of looking back and sort of regretting that it was a short run, that he didn't become James Bond, that he didn't get the French Connection role, things that would have definitely changed his life and made him a huge movie star. West seemed to really embrace his fans. He seemed to have a healthy respect for them. He did make himself known and make himself available at times to the fans, and I think that's what really kept him in the public light and kept him relevant. A lot of the major TV and radio hosts, so people like Conan, Bill Maher, Howard Stern, they all saw Adam West as a childhood hero, so they kept him relevant as well. They've used him multiple times. He's been on both Conan and Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher multiple times, and then again all of the voice acting and things kept him really relevant. And I think the big thing is he was a really good sport about it. I think he could have easily been sour for sort of missing out on some of those major roles. I'm sure they're things he really wanted. He's passed on, well respected. He did have a short battle with leukemia, which is what ultimately got him at the age of 88. But he just died yesterday at the time of me filming this, so we're going to miss Adam West, but because he was such a good sport and really, did so much work, there's a big volume of work. I think if you want to, you're not as familiar with Adam West, you can go right now and watch that original, the original Batman series, or the movie. They did a movie with Adam West as Batman based on the series, and it's fun. It's really where you get a lot of the original sort of Batman stuff. It's cheesy today, and it was fun then. I mean, it was a family-friendly movie, but it is fun to watch. So I highly recommend you check it out. It's got some really hilarious scenes in it, and he does a great job. It's a good way to sort of look back and remember a different time, and his passing just sort of marks, I think, the end of an era. But he definitely was one of the paving stones to where we're at today. I'm not sure we would have had some of the great Batman films if it wasn't for what he did and his ability to sort of keep that character alive as long as he did, because it was about 20 years from the time of that show to the Michael Keaton Batman, which is a long time, but he was able to do that. So we're going to miss Adam West, but I thought sharing some facts with just how interesting of a guy he was might be sort of a fun way to remember him. Stay tuned for our next episode. This was a little bit of an emergency episode since he just passed. I wanted to go ahead and get some information out to you. But if you're still watching the video, please click the like button. It helps this channel grow. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. At the time of this video, I've got a very small subscriber count, but you can be one of the ones that helps me really grow this channel. But until next time, you're watching Flick Connection, and I'm Darren, and I'm out.